The topic of my presentation today is about surrealism. When we think of surrealism, we often picture melting clocks, distorted landscapes, and dreamlike symbolism. But what does surrealism look like today? In this presentation, I will explore how the surrealist legacy of Salvador Dali has influenced the work of contemporary artist Mark Ryden. I have analyzed two works each by Dali and Ryden in detail and by comparing their themes, visual styles, and symbolism. We can see how surrealism continues to evolve and inspire new forms of artistic expression. So, what is surrealism? I have broadly divided the development and definition of surrealism into three parts. Firstly, surrealism is an influential 20th century culture movement that began in the early 1920s, emerging from the aftermath of World War I and deeply influenced by Dadaism and the theories of Sigmund Freud. Secondly, emphasizes dreams, the subconscious, and absurd reality, aiming to transcend the limitations of reality by delving into dreams, fantasies, and the subconscious. Secondly, advocates breaking rational logic and exploring the deep structure of the psyche. In conclusion, I have picked three keywords as my initial understanding of surrealism: dreams, irrationality, and the unconscious. Next, I researched Salvador Dali and his representative works in depth. I discovered Dali's fascination with religion, death, sex, and dreams. And at the same time, his work combines elements of dream, hallucinations, and the surreal to create incredible and mysterious images. The most famous is definitely the persistence of memory. This iconic and much reproduced painting depicts the fluidity of time as a series of melting waters. Their forms, described by Dali, has inspired by a surrealist perception of camembert cheese melting in the sun. The distinction between hard and soft objects highlights Dali's desire to flip reality, lending to his subjects characteristics upside their usually inherent properties. Another and highly iconic work, The Burning Giraffe. It features female figures with open drawers in their bodies, symbolizing hiding fears of secrets, and a blue-skinned figure standing beside a burning giraffe in the background. From Dali's perspective, this was about the progression of the inner and subconscious life and the taming of inner beasts. In conclusion, I have also picked three keywords: transformation, dream logic, and hyperrealism. Among contemporary artists, Mark Ryden stands out for his rich, symbolic imagery, dreamlike compositions, and a blend of innocence and disturbing detail, much like Dali. Next, I researched Mark Ryden and his representative works in depth. I discovered his painting style is sweet and weird, combining elements of religion, natural science, and pop culture, and the themes are usually chosen for mystical rituals, the tension between childhood and death. The Creatrix, created in 2005, the work is a mystical and symbolic painting that blends classical style with pop surrealism. It portrays a serene, doll-like girl surrounded by animals, nature, and occult symbols, evoking themes of creation, innocence, and the divine feminine. The detailed dreamlike imagery reflects Ryden's fascination with myth, spiritual- spirituality, and childhood honor. And the Tree of Life serves as one of the most iconic pieces in the tree show. The work is a richly symbolic painting featuring a young, doll-like girl standing before a vibrant tree filled with eyes, animals, and mystical symbols. The work explores themes of nature, spirituality, and interconnectedness, blending religious iconography with a dreamlike, childlike aesthetic typical of Ryden's pop surrealist style. In conclusion, I have also picked 4 keywords: innocence, mystery, ritual, and visual contradiction. After having an in-depth knowledge of Dali and Ryden, I compared them in 3 separate ways: theme, style, and symbolism. And I would summarize Ryden's carryover from Dali in 3 areas. Firstly, thematic continuity, the exploration of dreams and the subconscious mind. Both of them try to transform invisible psychological activities into visual forms, and Ryden inherits Dali's tradition of constructing dream narratives. Secondly, stylistic succession, reality in exquisite realism. Both artists specialize in wrapping irrational content in classical pictorial language, thereby creating visual and psychological tension. Ryden's reinterpretation of Dali's realistic metamorphosis strategy is a contemporary aesthetic. Thirdly, philosophical position, challenge to reality and awakening of consciousness. Ryden inherits Dali's stance of visually challenging the boundaries of reality, except that he uses a contemporary vocabulary. In short, I would like to summarize and conclude in one sentence. Surrealism lives on not just in museums, but in how today's artists question reality, identity, and belief. And finally, I made some thoughts and reflections on this study. It depends on my understanding of how visual language can express complex inner words. This analysis inspires me to be more intentional with symbols and narrative in my own portfolio work, and I aim to explore surrealism in the future projects, not just as a style, but as a way to question reality and express hidden emotions. That's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.